Hey guys, it's Pascal here.
And Tara was.
Gonna talk about the FNAF movie.
And before this review begins, I just want to say quickly watch the movie. If you haven't already, we'll be going into spoilers, and um, and as such, you should watch this after the movie to just kind of get the perspective of FNAF boomer fans or boomer FNAF fans.
The OG fans.
So we've been here a while, and as such, our opinion on the movie is going to be kind of geared towards that angle. What we the older fans kind of think about. So just to gain an idea, I was 14 when it first came out, and now I'm 24. So I'm the boomer fans.
Yeah, we kind of see it as a horror game series first and a sci-fi second. So, with that out of the way.
This is how we're going to do the review. We're going to talk about the negatives first, then we're going to talk about the positives. We would rather end the video on a positive note for overall, we do like the movie, but it's definitely full of complaints. So, with all that being out of the way, and the disclaimer, once again, spoiler, so that's your second chance. So yeah, let's get on with the review.
Okay, the first complaint out of the way, the rating system. It is a PG-13.
So why is that bad? Well, let's talk about before the movie began. Our perspective on it. So when it was first announced that it was a, PG-13 movie, we were skeptical. We, in a different account, even kind of complained about it. We were like, "Hey guys, do you not see the issue?" And for some reason, people were being overly hostile, which I guess that's kind of a norm anymore with FNAF fans. Um, and they're like, well, it doesn't need to be that way. And honestly, I disagree. And the reasons being well, if the gore isn't fun enough, it's going to rely on the plot. And if the plot isn't good enough, you just got a under average movie. So let's talk about the gore in more depth, shall we?
So, it would like to start the movie off. It was showing the security guard. He was gonna die, of course. He gets attacked. He gets locked up on a chair, and saws go into his face. But you don't get to see that.
It cuts away. Not a split second of seeing it, not a couple seconds of seeing it just hitting his face and blood splurting at the screen, or even that, just not even blood squirting. It just nothing. Cut away.
It's unfortunate. And I mean, you do get to see. Well, this is the third spoiler. Why are you even here by this point? If you're not looking for spoilers, but it shows their bodies at like the later half of the film, and his face looks pretty brutal. It's pretty cool of a moment, but
Very nice indeed. But you know what the issue is, though? The issue is, other than that, really think about the scene. There was the suits, the people were in it. It's a gory scene in concept, but also like all the people in it were just kind of like pale. There's not really a lot of blood. There wasn't really a lot of gore. One of the ladies in it, she was the babysitter of Abby in the movie. She got split in half. That was so cool. We got to see it, but it was also cut away really quick. And her body in the suit, you only see the upper half, ironically. You didn't see like a slight dark comedy where maybe her legs are sticking out. Nope, it was just kind of a pale painted person inside the suit, which that's kind of like the good and bad, isn't it? That it's always doing, okay, we give you a little bit, but then we also take away.
yeah. And another reason why this rating system is important is the Springlock suit. That's so infamous, such a big moment, and I feel like it's kind of ruined because of how like mellow it is.
It's very slow and it does close ups, sure, and it's kind of gory, but not really like fun type.
It's more like it's pressing into him. It's not being shown it ripping him open. He's not gurgling on his blood or like um eyes popping out or anything like that.
Which they did say that his eyes popped out and such. You don't really see anything but like a chest wound. And there's also the scene where Carl the cupcake, I guess, eats Carl. So I guess Carl eats the cupcake eats Carl instead of vice versa. It's a funny scene, but that's also the issue. So let's just point out something. The cupcake is strong enough to tear Springtrap's suit open, causing it to malfunction. Um, and we're assuming that the like it's like fur like coating on top of like I don't know some kind of I would say plastic like really hard plastic perhaps.
I mean,
But
Vanessa shot Springtrap, and the bullet didn't go through. So
yeah, exactly. So this cupcake bit somebody's face, and it was just kind of covered up. No blood gushing, no face being completely removed, nothing like that. And it bit his leg, Michael's leg, and it's just like ow, pretty much. And it didn't like rip a chunk off or anything. Something kind of fun.
yeah, yeah, I think that's for the most part what generally is with the gore. So we also said that the movie is flawed because it's not gory. Because if you can't rely on the gore in the movie, you got to rely on the plot, and the plot is average.
That's our segue, by the way. We're gonna talk about the plot overall real quick. So let's again talk about the negatives. We're doing that first. The negatives are that the pacing. You've probably seen this a lot. And by the way, I like to think about my opinions on a movie before watching reviews, so I already had notes, and I tend to keep to my notes just to make it more pure. But yeah, my thought process was like the first half. It seemed like it was gonna do some kind of like almost drama esque type of style. The middle half was overly whimsical, where they were literally laying with them, Freddy and the gang. And then,
Bonnie giving people the thumbs up, like
yeah, it was funny and all that, but it also I feel like speaks to the quality of the plot because the ending. Oh my god, that ending actually did kind of excite me. Like it got like more horror based. It was so fun that ending area. But it just feels disjointed and it could have been smooth. It could have been smoothed out. It should have transitioned more, if that makes sense. Um, for instance, let's talk about what I mean about these three different tones that the movie has. The beginning shows a person suffering with PTSD and deal like they essentially get overly sensitive to subjects like a kid being taken by an adult because when he was a kid, his little brother, which was what's his name,
Garrett.
Garrett, yeah, Garrett gets taken by, well, William Afton, and as such, he has trauma with that. So he has ways of dealing with it, none of which is healthy because he tries to relive it and all that. So it seems like it might be delving into kind of the depressing aspect of the FNAF series, which that is something that exists in the FNAF series, the depressing aspect. But then it goes to the whimsical side. This is the side that us older fans kind of have an issue with. I don't mind it. It's supposed to be like, oh look, they're so friendly towards like kids. You're supposed to believe they're like Chuck E. Cheese's, but the issue is that
It's too like quickly to it. It
yeah,
feels disjointedly like a whiplash.
yeah, because the scene right before it was the murder of all those people scene. Do mind you, there's also reports where the guy was like, I can't remember which actor, but he was like, don't count somebody
Hank.
out. Yeah, Hank. Don't count Hank out yet. So he's probably alive somehow still, despite him being in the back room dead. So we're essentially saying somebody probably didn't actually get killed despite being clearly murdered, which this all this stuff takes away from the horror. So then it leads to the whimsical place, and you're kind of like, what? They're now like building a fort and stuff, and they just got done eating. Well, Freddy had dinner right before that moment, and it just kind of feels weird. I felt like they could have played it up a bit, like maybe Michael sees something wrong. Maybe Vanessa knows something's wrong. Um, but or yeah, Vanessa. Yeah, I said it right. But no, they just kind of go with it, and in a way, it makes sense. Michael doesn't know about what just happened before, but Vanny definitely, or Vanessa did. She's not Vanny. It's not the same as the game, really. Um, but that's not bad again. But it was just tonal. But then the ending half was probably my favorite, or ending quarter. I don't know. Ending third, I guess. That is when it ramps up. We had action, we had blood, we had gore, happening. We had a chase scene, but then it ended off so quickly. where it got kind of resolved overly fast, which I felt like a lot of like I even heard reviewers like, no, they should shorten it. Like I actually think they should made it not an hour longer. I don't think it needs that. I just think maybe a couple minutes longer.
Maybe
Cause
even like for example, okay, so you know William Afton, he gets spring lock. That's like the whole scene, right? And all that. And I was kind of thinking it should have been more like the games, like the mini game,
yeah,
him
not the
running
book.
around.
That's also another complaint I'm gonna quickly throw in. The books are so flawed and highly divisive, so why make the movie so harshly based off the book? It shouldn't have been. It was the scene where Charlie she has William in the she's like getting strangled by William, and then she pushes one of the spring locks and it gets him,
But
and
instead,
then
Carl, the cupcake, if you want to call it the cupcake, Carl,
instead he does it.
bites right into his chest, causes spring locks to happen. But he gets dragged away too at that moment, and I don't really like that because it reminds me of the books.
And the one day maybe if you guys want, I'll talk about the books more in depth, what we actually think, but I don't think it should go that direction. I like this new edition. It could help fix the lore issues within the games and the books. And so yeah, going back to it, the the whole scene was so quick too. Like at first it was so cool. He kicked Michael. He fling. Like he clearly has super strength. His face probably so bruised. And you're
I
like,
mean, you
"Oh
don't get to
crap."
see it.
You,
He's unconscious. He's not actually bruised. It's just
no,
you kind
you
of
do see
felt
it.
it. You kind of like
No,
felt
you
the
do see the
kick.
bruise. Um and then afterwards he just kind of walks around talking, which in the books he's very like in the books he's very like crazy in a
Kooky
living
way,
in a
like a
living in a cartoon. Yeah.
the mask like type of killer. You know what I mean? Like he's like the mask.
Yeah. And then in the game they don't really show much. It's a lot to the imagination. But again, you shouldn't expect William to be a certain way that you kind of imagined, of course, but it's also shouldn't have been the one that people complained about, which people did like it at first, do mind you, but when they continued that story arc and it turned out he was an endo or something like that.
Oh, I hope that's not what
Yeah,
they're gonna go to.
yeah, they should fix that for sure. But yeah, it was tonal whiplash, and the best part of the movie was overly short. That's the too long didn't read of it. So maybe we should talk about the next thing. All right, so we got nitpicks that I'm gonna quickly throw in. Sorry for the disjointedness. I never did a review before, nor the Spire Skull. So yeah, let's first talk about this little scene that I thought was kind of weird. But there was this scene where Mike was locking up the pizzeria, and he's locking it up in front of Vanessa, and then
So wait, then what happened was all the robbers goes in and dies, right?
but actually no, it doesn't really relate to that. That's how they got in. That's how they died because he locked. Okay, so he locked it up, right? And then they break the lock with a clipper. So here's two things that's pointing something out that I'm gonna lead to. So by this point, Vanessa literally saw Michael unlock the door, but because she's been there and knows people have been killed, that means she saw the lock probably clipped open, meaning why did she complain to him afterwards?
She's like,
Was this a bait? Was this part of the plan?
she was like, you should have locked the doors next time or something like that.
And she's like, "Don't be sleeping on the job." And
But he actually did lock the door.
yeah, which I thought was kind of funny. There was also Corey freaking Kenshin that appeared in the movie, which we all knew because of the trailers. But there's a negative with that. Um, he said it's kind of, I guess it's kind of a catchphrase. The oh my goodness, that thing. I love it, but I hate how it's done. I felt like he should have been freaking out like, oh crap, oh my god, and then he says, oh my goodness, like as a calming down slowly type of deal in a way.
Yeah, he's like, he reacts like a just absolutely freaking out over this big bear in his back of the car. Then he comes down, he's like, oh my goodness, you know.
Yeah, but instead he kind of does that as his main reaction, which people complain about this. I heard, but again, I had these notes before watching any other review, but yeah, he uh he kind of like feels disjointed with reality here a little bit. All right, so
Balloon Boy. Okay, this is a little bit of a positive, but I thought it was funny.
yeah, Balloon Boy was kind of funny, but again, we're doing the negatives first. So, let's see, what else we're gonna do? Oh yeah, cheesiness. It was very cheesy, but you guys are gonna be kind of shocked what I think. And what I think is I actually don't care or I don't mind. I like cheesy movies. I actually like the Batman Schumacher films.
Yeah, I
Um,
like cheesy too.
so it doesn't really bother me. Um, like I don't mind cheesy horror. Like I like the pizza face himself, which you could say is very cheesy, which is Freddy Krueger, and I love that series. So I don't really mind about the cheesiness, and I know people are gonna complain about it. I see this coming pretty much. I didn't hear anybody say it, but I see it coming. Um, Something else is the William portrayal. I wanted to wait. I already talked about it. Yeah, I guess I did, didn't I?
Well, actually, we didn't talk about his personality, but we did talk about him dying quickly, and we talked about how he's kind of like not as kooky as like the books or not as mysterious as the games, but he's kind of like in the middle in a way.
He's not bad, right? But he's also not standoutish. He's just your typical crazy person that turned his daughter to maybe an accomplice. I think they implied maybe she has something to do with why the police didn't look, despite there's a really weird dialogue I want to point out with this whole complaint. But she essentially said like they didn't check the animatronics. Why would they? But it's like, why wouldn't they? Not if they say see blood happening. They never mention that in the movie, and I guess you could say it's a non-complaint by that logic. But I was also thinking that if there was a murders around the pizzeria, cops tend to check every place. So it would be kind of realistic to assume that maybe they would look. So by that logic, I would say Vanessa maybe kind of subverted the other cops away, or did something to hide the evidence, which they weren't really clear on, I don't think.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so I think I have one last complaint before I start talking about the positives. If I think of any before the video ends, I'll throw it in at the ending. But yeah, so I actually feel like this movie, in a way, represents what I feel is an issue with FNAF as a whole. I love FNAF. I even accept new fans, but people's been saying that people that complain about it is gatekeeping and such. Sure, there is people, because you gotta remember, people are people, just awful, but also good people. But you see, I don't think it's gatekeeping to try to defend the thing you like. So what am I trying to get at is FNAF's having an issue where they're appealing to the younger demographic more and more with Security Breach, but then they realized they shouldn't with Ruin, but even Ruin was still a bit kiddish. And then the trailers, kind of also having the kooky tone that translated towards the middle half of the movie. And I just wish that FNAF would realize they don't need to appeal to younger people to stay fun. And I even seen arguments saying, well, the majority of FNAF fans are young people. No, it's going to become that way. At the moment, there's still around, let's just say, 18 to 20. Even though we're in one of the older categories, I would probably say. Um, but they
Plus,
don't.
anybody's gonna go unlike FNAF. I'm just gonna put that out there. They can
Yes.
make it gory. Kids are gonna like it because, well, it's FNAF.
Yeah. And if you guys think this is a weird take, I just have to remind you that my little brother that I'm gonna call Beetle, he when he was a kid, he liked it during the moments when it was still being very horror, where it wasn't that kooky.
Yeah, I think it was like FNAF 3 around maybe.
Yeah, and he liked it just because. Well, I actually, I really shouldn't say why he liked it, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. That he liked it just simply maybe because we did, maybe because he saw something interesting. But it was at a time period where, oh, it's not really PG, is it? Well, I guess it kind of is. But my point being is that if they make a good horror movie that's very interesting, they don't need to worry about not getting new fans because they will come automatically based off it being a good movie. So honestly, all that's all they had to do. But I feel like they've been appealing to the wrong idea more and more as time went on. And I'm telling you guys you shouldn't like it or shouldn't have that perspective. I just cannot believe the fact that it almost fell off the dresser and it landed like that. Chica took a tumble just like Bonnie did in the movie. Also, that's another victim from Carl, the biggest killer in the movie by this point. Um, but anyways, that sidetrack aside, by the way, these are our customs. If you like it, check out our channel for more in-depth reviews. Anyways, back to the review. So yeah, I think we were saying the more kiddish things. Again, they just don't need to do that. You don't actually need to. There's ways to introduce people to the series, and the movie format is a perfect one. Have the first game's plot condensed into a movie the mass public could see. Simple as that. And if it's done well enough, people would like it. But as of now, you got the movie and the newer games kind of get spin the narrative that FNAF is for kids.
But it's
And
for everybody.
yeah, it should be for everybody. And no, well, okay, not everybody. I feel like a younger demographic wouldn't be as good because, well,
Like toddlers, like
yeah,
yeah, a toddler's not gonna go ask Google Gaga, hey mom, could I
could I
check this
see
out?
the kid murderer kill people? Like that's the plot, and yet people think FNAF is for kids. Anyways, I
Let's
think
get to the positives now.
yeah, like I feel like now it's time to talk about why we still like this movie. First off, the cheesiness I actually did find kind of entertaining as a kind of contradictory thing, but I did like it. I also like little things like hints of the lighting turning more purple when it showed Vanny. Like I thought that was kind of interesting, maybe a setup. Um, the suit colors compared to William's suit, like his average attire suit, like the yellowish tones with the gray pants looking like the Endo in a way, and then the purple tie meeting the purple tie of the Springtrap suit, and stuff like that.
I also like the ending and the credits. Oh my gosh.
Yes, the credits. The credits was amazing. I loved it. I can't believe they put the song that started it all into the movie. That was so enjoyable, honestly.
Oh,
Um,
and I liked how they Michael Afton or Mike Smith, I guess. He grabbed a balloon boy and just turned him around. I just find that so funny. I
there
know I
was
already talked about him, but I just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, and I did like Corey Kenshin in general being in there. I also really liked how Michael is portrayed. Actually, he's a little bit stoic, but there was one complaint. Actually, come to think about it, how when Abby got like zapped, she went flying, and like Vanessa's the one that's hugging her. Like what?
Mike should do that. That's like his sister, so like he should like be like, "Oh crap, what happened?" You know?
Yeah, actually, come to think about it, uh, I th- um, I think that the stoicness was good. The kid acting was kind of bad actually. Not the worst. Okay, it was
It was
mid. It was
okay.
mid. Yeah.
Oh, but the animatronics, they were great in the
Yes,
movie.
the real animatronics were also really cool. Being game accurate models also really cool. Loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. The scariness of them contradicting with the like they look cute and cuddly. They do, but they're also like pretty scary. I like that. Um,
I really liked it when Freddy looked so pissed when he was looking off the stage.
yeah.
He's like, "Where was that guy that zapped me?" and stuff.
Yeah, actually, I even like the incorporation of zapping the animatronics to get them out of the way. I also noticed something very interesting. Golden Freddy, he appeared into the building, right? And he killed this villain lady. She's like I think the aunt or something, and she's trying to take custody of Abby, which is kind of like the subplot of the movie. But you see, what happened is when she like gets killed, I noticed in the background Golden Freddy was still there. Yet Blonde Freddy, I'm just gonna call him the kid, um, he was there. But I bear wonder, why am I pointing this out? I do have to rewatch it just to make sure I'm not imagining things. But I notice every time they do that whole ghost kid versus actual animatronic, it it always makes them disappear before reappearing. Yet Golden Freddy existed at the same time the Ghost of Freddy did. So is this another person? Does this hint at a future sequel thing? Kind of like kind of like segueing to another thing. The music box at the end of the credits as well. That's clearly hinting at the future, like movie perhaps.
I also gotta say, I really liked Spring Bonnie. Like when he showed up, I was like honestly just excited. Like,
He's well designed. I like the super strength incorporated because you could only assume such. There was a lot of really cool stuff. Oh, the tones being so kind of nostalgic and
yeah, I
all
felt
that.
nostalgic.
Yeah, like they got the tones better than most movies, I would say. There's a bit of cheapness you could tell in some areas, but I
Who
don't.
cares?
Yeah, as long as it's nice, I'm not really minding it. Um, so I think another positive is just the ability to see the FNAF pizzeria.
Oh,
But
and also the really cool like little hints here and there, the little like small references and hints.
like the "It's Me" in the background, I've seen that. Um, oh, the baby in the background with the springlock suit. That's a cool redesign, making it less sci-fi, which got me excited. And that's another positive, actually. It's less sci-fi and more horror, even if the horror is kind of like laughable in a way. Um, I like the fact it is going that direction. I don't think it's doomed to forever be kiddish, despite that earlier rant. I actually think that there's a chance it will go maybe further down as maybe as the clearly they're appealing to the newer fans, but maybe as they clearly appeal to them, they would also realize that they grow up. So they can make it darker, like the older fans want, which I think would be awesome.
I also like all the YouTubers. I know I already did a post on this, a community post, but it's just cool. And how Hank, like, I think it was Hank, like, just smashed it. That was kind of
Yeah.
funny.
And uh, another positive is now this might be a weird one, and I know it's controversial, but I like how Scott himself did it. And he's probably not even a filmmaker, but you could tell probably. But I do like how he's doing it, and I feel like there's still improvement for what he could do film wise. So
But he's an indie developer that made a movie. That is amazing.
yeah, and I've always really liked Scott's like his hand being on the series. That's the one I trust the most. And I like how they actually let him do it. That to me makes Blumhouse kind of more reasonable if for like, small directors and such, people with less experience. And I feel although people have rightfully pointed out the budget, it is a start and I hope they go uphill from here.
I also gotta say, I'm gonna wrap this up. It's getting close to the time limit, so I think I personally would give this film a 8 out of 10. Even though I would say for audience would probably be a 7 out of 10.
And I would have to agree with 7. But again, this is a FNAF from uh, like fans' perspective, so take that with what you will.
Highly recommend the movie, even it with its flaws.
Yeah, I do recommend the movie, even with its flaws.
Watch it twice if you have to.
Jokes aside,